So you did it. You found the secret. You laid the perfect first brick. I remember that feeling. After years of building grand, complicated routines that would collapse in a week, I finally learned the truth. Start small. So small it feels stupid. 1 push-up, 1 minute of meditation, 1 glass of water. I laid my first brick, and for the first time, it didn't wobble. It was solid. I felt powerful. And then, I did what everyone does. I tried to build a skyscraper on top of it overnight. The next day I thought, if I can do 1 push-up, I can do 50, and meditate for an hour, and run 5 miles. And by Wednesday, my perfect little brick was buried under the rubble of my own ambition. My discipline was gone. The momentum was dead. I was back at square one, feeling like a failure, wondering what I was missing. The answer wasn't another habit. It was a different kind of habit, a master key. And I call it the Domino Habit. We're not just going to talk about adding a habit. We're going to find your Domino Habit, the one single routine that once you push it, starts a chain reaction that builds everything else for you. You've heard of an anchor habit, the one thing that holds you steady when life gets stormy. That's essential. That's your first brick. But an anchor is defensive. It stops you from drifting. A domino habit is offensive. It creates momentum out of thin air. It's the tiny, effortless push that topples giants. Imagine a small domino, just an inch tall. You can tip it with your pinky finger. Now imagine that domino tips over another one that's slightly bigger. And that one tips another, bigger still. Soon, that tiny, effortless push is toppling a domino the size of a building. That's the power we're unlocking today. Not the power of brute force, but the power of strategic leverage. I've discovered there are only 3 kinds of these master habits that truly matter. The domino of energy, the domino of clarity, and the third is the one that the world's most successful people use unconsciously, but almost never talk about. Let's start with energy. The first domino, and maybe the most powerful, is the domino of energy. Its mortal enemy is the morning zombie. You know that guy. The alarm goes off and you open your eyes, but you're not really awake. Your body feels heavy, your mind is a swamp, and the thought of doing anything productive feels like trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. You can have the best plan in the world, but the morning zombie will devour it for breakfast. The domino of energy is the single tiny action that kills the zombie. For me, it was putting a glass of water on my nightstand before bed. The very first thing I did, before my feet even touched the floor, was drink it. It wasn't about hydration science. It was about the signal. It was a push. Suddenly, I wasn't just a groggy mess. I was a person who had already done something. That simple act made it 10% easier to get out of bed, which made it 10% easier to stretch for 1 minute, which made it 10% easier to not hit snooze. A domino of energy could be a 10-minute walk in the morning sun. It could be 5 deep breaths by an open window. It's not the act itself that matters. It's the energy it unlocks for every other act that follows. The second is the domino of clarity. Its enemy is the decision fog. This fog rolls in when you have a million things to do, but no idea where to begin. It's that feeling of paralysis. You sit down to work, open your laptop, stare at the screen, and your brain just spins. You check emails, then social media, then the news, because making an actual choice feels overwhelming. The decision fog drains your mental energy faster than anything else. A domino of clarity is the simple act that cuts through it like a lighthouse beam. My domino of clarity was writing down my one big thing for the next day before I closed my laptop at night. Just 1 sentence. Tomorrow, I will finish the script outline. That's it. It took 2 minutes. But when I woke up, there was no fog. I knew exactly what the most important domino to push was. There was no debate, no negotiation. For you, it might be 5 minutes of journaling to clear your head. It might be planning your next day's outfit. It's any tiny ritual that replaces 100 chaotic decisions with one simple, clear path. When you know where you're going, you don't need willpower to start walking. And now the third domino, the one I promised you. It's the domino of order. Its enemy is the friction monster. Friction is the invisible force that makes hard things harder. It's all the tiny little obstacles between you and the thing you're supposed to do. I remember buying this expensive online course on coding. I was so excited, I never even logged in once. Why? Because the thought of finding the login email, remembering the password, the friction monster made it feel like a chore. My $200 sat there mocking me for weeks. It was a tiny obstacle, but it was enough to kill my ambition. The domino of order is a habit that kills the monster before it even appears. It's about making your desired path the path of least resistance. My domino became packing my gym bag the night before and leaving it by the door. That was it. The next morning, the decision wasn't, should I go to the gym? The decision was, should I pick up this bag that's already packed and waiting for me? The friction was gone. For you, it might be cleaning your desk for 5 minutes at the end of the day, so you start the next with a clean slate. It might be the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. These aren't about being a neat freak. They're about engineering an environment where doing the right thing is the easiest thing. Energy, clarity, order. Those are the 3 master dominoes. Now here's the most important part, the step where most people still fail. You don't get to pick all 3. You don't even get to pick 2. You pick 1. Look at your life. What is your biggest enemy right now? Are you the morning zombie, drained before you even start? Or are you lost in the decision fog, spinning your wheels? Or is the friction monster making every good choice a monumental effort? Be honest and choose the one domino that will make the biggest difference. And then you do it for 2 weeks. Just that one thing. You're not building a wall anymore. You're a jeweler, carefully and patiently forging the first link in a chain. And after those 2 weeks, when that habit is automatic, you don't just stack another one on top. You link it. You say, after I drink my glass of water, I will write down my one big thing, clarity. You use the momentum of the first to trigger the second. Now you have a chain. Now you have a system. And that's when something magical happens. The discipline you were trying so hard to force, it starts to build itself. The system starts to run on its own. People will start to notice. They won't see the tiny domino you push each morning. They won't know about your 2-minute rule or your single sentence in a journal. They'll just see the results. They'll see the calm, the focus, the quiet, unstoppable momentum you carry with you. They'll see someone who says they're going to do something, and then they just do it. And that is the kind of discipline that scares people. Not the loud, flashy, unsustainable burst of a superhuman for a day, but the quiet, unshakable consistency of a well-designed life. It's not about being a robot. It's about becoming an architect. So stop trying to be a hero. Stop piling on more bricks. Go find your domino. And if you want to become an architect of your own life instead of a victim of your own impulses, make sure you subscribe. We're just getting started. Now head down to the comments and tell me one thing. Which domino are you starting with? Energy, clarity, or order? I want to know.